Ashanti, Dad, I'm so glad we could sit down and have this conversation. It's been a long time coming, and I really think it's important that we address what happened all those years ago. Ken-Kaide, I agree, Ashanti. It's not an easy thing for me to talk about, but I know I need to. I owe Nelly a long overdue apology. Ashanti, when Nelly was arrested back then, and the media was crucifying him, you were one of the first people to publicly doubt his innocence. I remember how hurt and disappointed I was. Nelly had always been like a big brother to me, and I knew in my heart that he would never do something like that. Ken-Kaide, I know, sweetheart, and I'm so sorry about that. At the time, I let the sensationalism of the media cloud my judgment. I wasn't thinking clearly, and I let my own biases and preconceptions get in the way of seeing the truth. Ashanti, it was really hard for me, because I felt like I was stuck in the middle. I wanted to support Nelly, but I also didn't want to go against my own father. That must have been so confusing and painful for you too. Ken-Kaide, it was. I was torn, Ashanti. On one hand, I wanted to believe Nelly. He'd always been a good friend and a positive influence in your life. But on the other hand, the news reports were so damning, and part of me just couldn't wrap my head around the idea that he was innocent. Ashanti, I know, Dad, and I forgive you for that. I know you were just trying to do what you thought was right, even though it hurt Nelly and our family in the process. Ken-Kaide, thank you, honey. That means so much to me. But the truth is, I was wrong. I should have had more faith in Nelly and in your judgment. You knew him better than anyone, and you believed in his innocence. I should have listened to you. Ashanti, I appreciate you saying that, Dad. It wasn't easy for me to watch Nelly go through all of that, especially when I knew he was innocent. And it was even harder knowing that you were one of the people who doubted him. Ken-Kaide, I can only imagine how that must have felt. I let you and Nelly down, and I'm truly sorry for that. I wish I could go back and change the way I reacted, but I can't. All I can do now is try to make amends. Ashanti, well, I'm glad you're ready to do that. And I know Nelly will appreciate it too. He's always been so gracious, even in the face of all the negativity and injustice he faced. Ken-Kaide, I don't know how he did it, to be honest. If I had been in his shoes, I don't think I would have had the strength to stay so positive and keep fighting. Nelly is a better man than I am. Ashanti, that's exactly why I've always looked up to him, Dad. He's a true role model, not just for me, but for so many people. And I'm glad that you're finally ready to acknowledge that. Ken-Kaide, well, then, I think it's time I reached out to Nelly and apologize. I know it's long overdue, but I need to do it. I need to make this right. Ashanti, I think that's a great idea, Dad. I know Nelly will appreciate it, and I think it will help bring some closure to a really painful chapter in all of our lives. Nelly. Ken-Kaide, I have to say, I'm surprised to hear from you. It's been a long time. Ken-Kaide, I know, Nelly, and I'm sorry about that. I should have reached out sooner. But I wasn't ready. I owe you an apology. Nelly, an apology. For what? Ken-Kaide, back when you were falsely accused all those years ago, I doubted your innocence. I let the media frenzy cloud my judgment, and I turned my back on you when you needed support the most. Nelly, I see. I have to say, I'm not entirely surprised to hear that. A lot of people jumped to conclusions back then, before all the facts came to light. Ken-Kaide, that's no excuse, Nelly. I should have known better. I should have had more faith in you, and in my own daughter's belief in your innocence. Looks down, ashamed, I let you down, and I'm deeply sorry for that. Nelly, man, I appreciate you saying that. I know it can't have been easy for you to admit that. But you know, I never held it against you or Ashanti. I know how the media can manipulate things, and I understood that you were just trying to make sense of it all. Ken-Kaide, you did. I don't know how you can be so gracious, Nelly. After everything you went through, I wouldn't have blamed you if you'd held a grudge. Nelly, nah, man. That's just not who I am. Look, I know you were just trying to do what you thought was right. And at the end of the day, the truth came out. And that's all that really matters. Ken-Kaide, you're a better man than I am. Nelly, I don't know if I could have been so forgiving in your shoes. Nelly, well, I've learned that holding on to negativity and resentment doesn't do anyone any good. Places a hand on Ken-Kaide's arm. What matters is that you're here now, acknowledging your mistake, and trying to make amends. That means a lot to me. Ken-Kaide, thank you, Nelly. I really appreciate that. Pauses, and I want you to know that I'm proud of you. For how you handled yourself through all of that. You're a true inspiration. Nelly, well, I appreciate that, man. And hey, water under the bridge. Right. Stands up and extends a hand. What do you say we start fresh? Ken-Kaide, sounds good to me. I'm glad we could have this conversation, Nelly. It's been a long time coming. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel.